So let's look at some homework questions on solving equations and inequalities to help out the people that were confused at the end of class today, or the kids that weren't there because they stayed home with the flu. Shout outs to kids who stayed home with the flu. Thank you for not getting us sick. Take your time getting better. Alright, so we started out, this is on page, I don't remember what page it is. Whatever page the independent practice was. It was 1 through 8. Independent practice. So it gave you an equation, gave you 3 potential answers, said pick the one that's correct. And I told you to show all the work. Showing the work's a good idea. But while you're doing it, think about what happens. After you get your answer, think, why did that have to be the answer? Where the location of the variable is, and what it's supposed to equal at the end, how they're all tied together. Because the whole chapter comes back to this idea of solving equations and inequalities. Okay? It's not always going to give you 3 answer choices, so we're going to have to do it a little bit more challenging way later on, but it's a good idea to like really start thinking about it now, so it doesn't become super difficult later on. Okay? Let's keep it simple for right now. So c divided by -7 plus 8 equals -3. We said we're going to rewrite this equation 3 times, only we're going to use 14 for c. So 14 over -7 plus 8 equals 3. And then we're going to look at 35. So we have 35 divided by -7 plus 8 equals 3. And our last one, 49. So 49 over -7 plus 8 equals -3. Now we're going to go through, we're going to do all this math for all 3 and figure out which one, oops, this is not a negative thing. Which of these 3 gives us a correct statement at the end. Okay, so let's start with our first one. So 14 divided by -7 is -2, right? Positive divided by negative is negative. 14 divided by 7 is 2, plus 8 equals 3. So -2 plus 8. So different signs, we subtract. So 8 minus 2 is 6. We keep the sign of the higher number, so since 8 is more than 2, it gets to stay positive. Does that equal 3 is the question. So since 6 does not equal 3, 14 is not our correct answer. And we keep going. So the other thing we really get to practice is our rules with positives and negatives, because that's going to become a thing later on you're going to have to remember how to do. And with all the new stuff we're going to be covering, if you can't remember how to add and subtract, it's going to be a hassle. So we got to get our practice in. Okay, so 35 divided by -7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Positive divided by a negative, still a negative. So -5 plus 8 equals 3. So -5 plus 8, again, different signs, so we subtract. 8 minus 5 makes 3. Still keep the sign of the higher number, which is still 8. 8 is still more than 5, so this is still positive. Does 3 equal 3? And you say, yes it is. Yes it does. 3 and 3 are the same number. So this looks like a pretty good answer. But because we're not lazy, and because when we get to inequalities right underneath this, we have to check all of them anyway, we're going to check all of them anyway. So the last one, 49 divided by -7. 49 goes into 7 times. Positive divided by negative, still negative. Plus 8 equals 3. Different signs here. We still subtract. -7 plus 8, 1. Sign of the higher number, 8, still greater than 7. So it's positive. So does 1 equal 3? And since this one is not true, so we have 2 wrong answers and 1 right answer, that's the best possible outcome. So we can say C equals 35. Okay. The other reason why we check this, let's say for some reason we did math incorrectly here, and we got a check mark, like we got 3 equals 3 again. We know, hey, we made a mistake somewhere. We need to go back and check these answers. Right? Because you only want 1 correct answer when we're doing equations. So 1 down, 7 to go. It's number 4. Ooh, same thing, just with some decimals. That's okay. So we're going to copy it down. Once using b as 0.5. We have 2.9 equals -2 times 0.5 plus 4.1. Okay. Now second variable. So 2.9 equals negative 2 times 0.6 plus 4.1. And I'm going to run out of room here. So let's put it down here. So 0.7. So 2.9 equals negative 2 times 0.7 plus 4.1. Okay, that's our three equations we set up. Now we just do the math we can. So we start with our first one. So negative 2 times 0.5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10, and then I have one decimal place. This is going to be 1.0, which is 1. Positive times a negative, different signs, negative, plus 4.1 equals 2.9. So we do one thing at a time. Everything else, in case you missed it from last time, just gets brought down. We keep doing math. So negative 1 plus 4.1, same as over here. We have different signs, so we subtract. So 4.1 minus 1 is 3.1. The positive, still a greater value than our negative, so this is positive 3.1. Say, does that equal 2.9? And you'd say, no, these are different numbers. Our answer is not 0.5. So we keep looking. So same process the next one. So negative 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12, right? There's a decimal point there, so 1.2, still negative, plus 4.1, bring everything else down, 2.9. Combine these two. Same as always. One negative, one positive, so we subtract. So 4 minus 1 minus 1.2 is 2.9. Still positive, 4.1 greater than 1.2. So does 2.9 equal 2.9? Well, yes, it does. It's the same number. So this looks pretty good. But again, we're not lazy, so we're going to try the third one, which I guess I should have done in green. I just realized. It's okay. Negative 2 times 7 would be 14. Again, there's a decimal point, so 1.4 plus 4.1 equals 2.9. Add these together, but different signs, so we subtract. So this becomes 2.7, still positive. Does that equal 2.9? No, it does not. So our only correct answer is 0.6, so we can say that B equals 0.6. And that's really all there was for the top four. Try all three, pick the one that's right, be done. Okay. Inequalities, it's a little bit different, because notice it says number or numbers are solutions, which means there's potentially more than one correct answer. So we definitely have to try all three. So we're still going to take each of our three values and replace the variable given. So we have 10 plus negative 13 over 13 is greater than or equal to 8. In our second equation, or inequality, we have 10 plus negative 39 over 13 is greater than or equal to 8. And then our third one, let's go blue, I like blue more than green. Negative 65 for A, so 10 plus negative 65 over 13 is greater than or equal to 8. So we still work it out the same way. We do the math that we can. So we start with dividing. Negative 13 divided by 13. Any number divided by itself is 1. Okay. Positive divided by a negative is negative. So we could either write, a couple ways we could write this. We've talked about this again and again, but some people forget. We can say this is 10 plus negative 1. Or we could have just said it was 10 minus 1. Either way, you get the same thing. Greater than or equal to 8. So 10 plus negative 1. So different signs we subtract, which is why it's the same as 10 minus 1, which is 9. So the question is 9 greater than or equal to 8? And it is. 9's more than 8, absolutely. So this, negative 13, is a good answer. We still need to check those, because what if these are good answers too? Then we'd have to write down have to write down all of them. So the next one, negative 39 divided by 13 is 3. 13 times 3 is 39, still negative. And we're going to bring 10 down. I'm just going to put 10 minus 3 because that's less writing for me. I've already done way too much work today. Let's see, 10 minus 3 is 7. So the question is 7, let's put a question mark above all these because we're asking ourselves, is 7 greater than or equal to 8? And it's not, 7's less. So this is not a good answer. Okay. And what you may have picked up on, if you notice, since our answers sort of go in order, is that if this is a good answer, right, but then our variable gets smaller and it stops being a good answer, then likely, if it gets even smaller, right, because the higher the negative, the smaller the value, that this one will not work. And it should come out to something less than 7, right? And this was 9 and this was 7, so this might be 5, maybe. Let's find out. So 65 divided by 13. So 13 times what is 65? Well, that's 5. Still negative. Positive divided by negative is negative. So 10 minus 5 is greater than or equal to 8. 10 minus 5, oh look, it is. I'm good at math. Let me get out of 7th grade one day. 5, is that greater than or equal to 8? No, it is not. So this is no good. So the only answer that works here is A is negative 13. Okay, there you go. So one more we can do together. Same thing over and over again. This is just, it's a lot of practice. Take some time, but the more you do it, the quicker it gets. Even though it seems like it takes me a long time, but that's because I stop and talk about it. If you're just doing this on your own, probably a lot quicker. So we're going to replace x with 1. So 6 times 1 minus 33, is that less than negative 20? And then 2, so 6 times 2 minus 33, less than negative 20. And I might run out of room, we'll just put it down here. So 3, 6 times 3 minus 33, less than negative 20. And then we do our work. So 6 times 1, that's 6, minus 33, less than negative 20. So 6 minus 33. So we're taking one away from the other. So 33 minus 6 is 27. But since we took away a number bigger than what we started with, this has to be negative. So it's negative 27 less than negative 20. And this one's a little bit trickier to think about because it's got negatives and less than. So if you're not sure, you make yourself a number line. Look at this perfect line. Okay. And since all I care about is negatives, I'm going to start with 0, a little bit to the right. After 0 comes negative 1, and then negative 2, and then negative 3. So we see, as we go more to the left, right, that's what less than means. The further to the left, the less it is. This is less, and to the right is more. Okay. So if we want to know what's less than negative 20, it has to be further to the left of negative 20. And since the numbers themselves get bigger the further left you go, so the higher the negative, the smaller it actually is. So is negative 27 less than negative 20? Yes, it is. Okay. So if you're ever not sure, make yourself a number line. You can even go to 20 and 27 if you want to. That's the basic idea. The bigger the value of the negative, the smaller it actually is. Okay. So next one, 6 times 2 is 12. Minus 33, less than negative 20. So again, 12 minus 33, or 33 minus 12 is 21, but it's negative because we took away more than what we started with. Is negative 21 less than negative 20? Well, it's the same idea here. Since 21 is more than 20, so negative 21 has to be less than negative 20. So this is also correct. Okay. And then our last one 6 times 3 is 18. 18 minus 33, is that less than negative 20? Forgot my question. 18 minus 33, so 33 minus 18 is 15. Still negative, still taking away more than we started with. Is that less than negative 20? So now, right, the greater negative number is on the right side. So negative 15 is actually more than negative 20. Because negative 15 is closer to 0. It's further to the right than negative 20. So this is not true. So in this case, we can say x equals 1, right? Or x equals 2, not 3. Maybe I shouldn't have put an x here since x was our variable. We can say that this is not a correct answer, so it gets a brownie face. Okay? That's the idea. That's half your homework done. You just got to do the other half. Alright. Good luck. Or go to tutoring on Thursday after school. Or bug Miss Price in the morning. Whichever.